I'm Shannon Johnson, the Director of Legacy Museum on Main, and this is a brief moment in LaGrange's history. Founded in 1905, the Rotary Club was intended to provide networking opportunities and fellowship among businessmen in Chicago. Within a few years, the organization opened clubs in other major American cities. After encountering the organization, Fuller E. Calloway Sr. was quite interested in creating a club here in LaGrange, and he quickly recruited several of his colleagues. This group first met in May of 1923 and held their first meeting in July at the Southwest LaGrange YMCA. Their charter was granted in September of that year. Initially, the club was mostly comprised of executives connected to Callaway Mills, though this did not exactly work with Rotary policies. To encourage diversity, Rotary classifies each member by occupation and limits only 2 members per field. With the unusual number of members working in the textile industry, classifications for the local club had to be broken down to types of products produced, like yarn, hose, and heavy duck, with Fuller Calloway Sr. being classified as capitalist. For the charter ceremony, the club held a gala attended by representatives from Rotaries across the state, including members of the West Point Rotary who sponsored the LaGrange Club. A short time later, the first weekly bulletin was issued with the threat, "This is our first assault with intent to issue a bulletin. If we get by with this one, we're liable to do this every week." The bulletin has continued to be a mainstay of the club, filled with news, announcements, and cheeky notes. From the outset, this club was intended to develop and encourage all sorts of local civic and business matters, but also to take on civic projects. Among the first major projects was a new building for the public library. Joining forces with the Women's Club, $25,000 was raised and the new library opened on Church Street in 1926 as LaGrange Memorial Library, honoring the men who died in World War I. Over the last 100 years of its existence, the LaGrange Rotary Club has created and supported hundreds of projects for the betterment of our community. Projects dealing with education and literacy include the public library, the local bookmobile, and reading to students, while extending outward to provide for scholarships for local and international students. The club has chartered chapters of Interact in the local high schools and a Rotaract chapter at LaGrange College. The club has also sponsored and supported various health initiatives throughout the community, including a local health fair for many years. During its formative years, the Rotary Club held their weekly meetings at the Southwest LaGrange YMCA, though they moved to the New Highland Country Club during the summers. Eventually, meetings were held exclusively at the Country Club until 1931, when they began meeting in town at the Hotel Colonial. Meetings remained here until 1968, when the hotel was converted into apartments. In 1975, the club resumed meeting at the Highland Country Club, where it continues to meet today. Most Rotary Club weekly meetings feature a speaker who may inform or entertain. Over the years, LaGrange Rotary has hosted government officials, including future President Franklin Delano Roosevelt during his term as governor of New York, and numerous state assemblymen and congressmen. World War I's most decorated soldier, Sergeant Alvin York, addressed the group in 1932, and NASA astronaut Ellen Baker spoke to the club in 1986. This year, LaGrange Rotary is celebrating 100 years of working with the community to provide service above self. To learn more about LaGrange's civic organizations, visit Legacy Museum on Main. This has been a brief moment in LaGrange's history.